Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi. If you are new here, I am a former college athlete. I played college basketball at 2 different Division II schools, and today I'm actually going to talk about some of the reasons that I did decide to transfer from one school to another, because I previously mentioned in a video that I wanted to play all 4 years at one school. I'm sure many people can relate to that who have played sports. I made the decision to transfer, although I liked the structure and like how hard and how much of a challenge it was at the first school. It was also ridiculously challenging on me mentally. I had never experienced some of the feelings that I had and some of the mental struggles I had before I got to that school. I'm not going to self-diagnose, especially because I have an undergrad in psychology and I'm pursuing my master's in forensic psychology, so I'm not going to sit here and say I had something when I didn't see someone. I just know that I was struggling very much at this first school, and I had never felt those types of emotions before. Obviously, it's like a hard transition in your life, being 18 and going to college on the other side of the country and all that. We're just gonna get into a few of the reasons I decided to transfer, because I've never really talked about them. With a lot of people, many people think you just transfer because you're not playing, but there are several reasons as to why I transferred, and I never thought I would really be very public about some of this stuff because it's very personal and it's kind of weird, and a lot of coaches want you to just stick it out and do all of that through the schools. But I think if you are not happy, several other reasons, then transferring could be the best option for you, and it could end up making you a lot happier, and we are going to get into that. Okay, so I obviously transferred. Many people think you transfer, and this is a pretty normal reason, because you're not playing enough. That wasn't really the driving force in my transfer, because I had worked my way up to playing pretty decent minutes my freshman year. The first semester was a little tough, but I worked my way into getting pretty decent minutes my second half of my freshman year. And then my sophomore year, I actually started and was playing 30 minutes a game the first half the season. And then I'll have to do a story time on some of the tactics or games that were done this year. All of us that were starting ended up not starting, and then it was a 5-for-5 subbing situation, and then I went to not playing at all. Maybe I'll talk about one of the reasons, because I went in and talked to her about it one of the games when she I'll talk about that another time, because I just don't agree with some of her coaching styles, and I don't agree with some of the stuff that I've alluded to. So I will have to do a video on that. Sometimes talking about these things are a little difficult for me, because obviously it brings up my emotions, and obviously, although me and her didn't have the best relationship, she's not a bad person. She's a great person. I just don't agree with some of her coaching styles, especially now that I understand psychology a bit more. I just don't agree with some of the things she does. And I will talk about that because this is my channel, and I have the freedom to say what I want. And maybe people will agree with me, and maybe people will think I'm overdramatic, and that's okay. That's your decision to make. But I'm gonna talk about it. So that was one of the reasons I left, was all of the games, all of the little things she would do, because I'm a very strong individual. I've mentioned before, I can be screamed at by a coach in my face, like right there, and I'll just say okay and do what you need me to do, because obviously you're the coach, I'm the player. I'm not going to take it personally, although I don't agree necessarily, but I'm gonna do it because I'm a player, and that's just the way it is. I've been yelled at several times when I was younger by male coaches, and so a female coach yelling at me wasn't that scary. Even the male coaches yelling at me wasn't that scary. It pissed me off more than it scared me. And so she would do that and I could handle that, and I don't know if she liked that or not. She would yell at me and I could handle that in different ways than others could, and so I think that's one of my strong suits as a player. But that was one of the reasons she just played all of these little games. I will have to do a video discussing each one, because while maybe a boys team or a boy could handle some of these tactics and it wouldn't mean anything, a lot of these were really kind of catty, and you know how girls have emotions and sometimes they play off of those emotions, and I just don't agree with some of the things she did. And so 2 years of that, 2 years of me having to deal with all of the little games she played, I have already done a story time on my freshman year when I wasn't on the list for extra workouts and they called me back to the workout, which took me over an hour and a half to get there, and then they kicked everyone out the minute I got there. And I will link that. That one's a good one because I was so upset about that. And it was just things like that happened so frequently that would just get into me, like emotionally and like mentally. Like it was a really big struggle for me to be doing everything I could. I put in full effort. She asked for us to do things, I did them. I wasn't afraid to like go all out. You know, I put 100% effort into everything, partially because with sprints and things like that I had to, but also because that's how I was raised and that's like the type of player I am. Like I love basketball, and when I'm in basketball, it's basketball and I'm 100% there. I'm giving my full effort, even if it's just practice, because I like to win. I'm competitive. And so I gave all of that, and yet she would still do these weird things and it still wouldn't be like good enough. And like, Lexi, you're like a wallflower, you're blending in with the wall, you know, shit like that. And so it's just like that over 2 years, just building. That was one of my main issues with her. And obviously a little bit of my transfer reason had to do with the fact that I went from starting and playing 30 minutes and I was consistent and blah, 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 until then I was maybe getting 10 minutes and she like thought I was like the bottom of the shoe, you know? And without explaining anything to me, without talking to me asking, me trying to figure out what went wrong. I know there were a few games I didn't take enough shots and I understand that, but I would have appreciated her pulling me into the office or like pulling me aside and being like, hey, like what's up? Like this is what we expect of you. You were doing this, now you're not, like what's good? And she wouldn't do that kind of thing. She wouldn't just sit down with me and talk to me. It was more like she wanted me to come in, and it was always me that had to do things. I think if you have a starter or a player at all, like you recruit all of us and you talk to us about what you expect, but you never touch back in and they're like, hey, like you went from scoring 8 points a game to like now you're not really taking very many shots, like what's up? I don't know, maybe it would have like flipped and everything would have been like fine and that could have kept going and we had a great relationship. But there was like that weird lack of communication that I didn't understand, because I'm pretty good at communicating and I tried. I went in there a few times. I'll talk about it. I'm not gonna get into all of the things that happened with the little mind games and the little things. I will have a video for that, and when that one is live, I will obviously link it in this video, but it will be on my channel. But there's so many of this video would be so long if I got into all of them. Even just a few of the big ones would make this video so long. That was one of them. Another one was I just wasn't happy. I've mentioned I obviously wanted to go to the school in Miami first, and after these first 2 years, I was not happy with the way things were going. I wasn't happy like in myself. I wasn't happy at the school. I wasn't happy with the coach. And also I learned how to like stand up for myself and have like a backbone and like really know how I should be treated, and really like, I just like became a lot more like self-aware and self-confident, and I'm very thankful for my teammates in Georgia because they helped a lot with that. I didn't realize I was like such a softie and like a pushover. And I now am like much more aware of like standing up for myself and like knowing what I deserve. And so I'll tell you, I went right in. We lost our last game of the year and the season was over. I didn't even shower or anything. I walked right out of the locker room into her office and asked for my release forms, and she gave them to me. And me and her are fine. I saw them. They played at a school very close to mine that was in conference for me, and so I went and watched them. I talked with her, like we have a good relationship still. There's like no hard blood because we are both mature in that aspect. Like I'm not going to take all of the things that she did to me personally. I did in the moment a little bit and I was like confused, but I'm not going to hold that against her. She pushed me harder than I've ever been pushed in a lot of ways. Mentally, obviously I didn't appreciate, but all the physical. I had never ran a sub 7-minute mile until I got there, and you know, there were a lot of barriers I pushed through, and she's one of those reasons, and I am thankful for her for that. I'm thankful that she chose me as a freshman, and not being insanely athletic into an insanely athletic conference. You know, I'm thankful for all of that, and I can be appreciative of her but also not want to be under her anymore because I couldn't handle all the mental strains and all the mental games, and like 1 minute it's up and 1 minute it's down. You never know if she's coming into practice and it's a good day or it's a bad day, but why are you coming in ready to kill us because of something that happened that wasn't related to us having a bad practice or not listening? And so those really made an impact on me, obviously. So like I chose to leave because I didn't enjoy all the games, the mental stress. I just wasn't happy. I know it sounds so stupid sometimes to some people, but a lot of people in life, like they need to be happy, and I didn't want to be miserable for 2 more years at this school. And so yeah, partly because it was just like such the highs and the lows. Like we talked about the mental aspect of it, all the highs and the lows. I would say the inconsistency from her was very difficult. The structure was consistent, but the rules were constantly like altering. Didn't make sense to me, and I felt like I was getting more of the wrath of things because I didn't have any other issues with the team. I was never late. I didn't make us run. Like I didn't have any issues in that aspect. And so it felt like I got a lot of the brunt of the frustration because I can handle being yelled at and stuff. And I didn't appreciate that. Obviously, like going from starting and being like a key factor on the team and then to not, without really being told why or getting an option to like make up for it, that was a big reason. This is after the fact. After I transferred my junior year, the school in Savannah was being taken over by the larger D1 about an hour away, and so it wasn't even going to be that school anymore. It was just going to be another campus of that D1 school, and so I would have had to transfer with only 1 year of eligibility left for my senior year, and that is very difficult. People usually do not want to transfer in a senior because you can't really build them into the program. They just have to like go, and sometimes that's great and teams let like those players flourish. My friend from that school went to another school in conference, had an amazing season her senior year, but that is very difficult for a lot of other people. I know a lot of other people that had to transfer. It was kind of a struggle to get to a school and like build that up, and so I'm very thankful the timing of mine and all of that, so I wouldn't have even gotten the 4 years at that school. So in the end, I was happy. I had a great junior year. My senior year was a little rough. Maybe I'll talk about that. I'll talk about it in another video, but those are the reasons. I will have a whole video on all the little games and all the little things that she did that I thought were petty and kind of conniving and a little catty, because that's what it was. I don't think I'm being over dramatic in that sense, and we will talk about those and see if I'm being dramatic, or I just think there were things that were done that should not have been done in like such a public setting like that. And so stay tuned for that, because that'll be a bunch of little mini story times I'll put together. So like maybe some of the context from all of the videos that I've mentioned, having that video will make everything make sense. And so if you are someone that is looking to transfer, worried about transferring, don't make it solely around playing time, especially after your freshman year. A lot of times at a 4-year university, you're not going to get a lot of playing time your freshman year. It just depends. And so giving it that time, like I went from, I built my way up my freshman year, and then my sophomore year I started. And so a lot of stuff like that wasn't the issue with it for me. So really take into consideration many factors of why you're transferring, and not just playing time. You might transfer to another school and you won't get the playing time either. So instead, staying with the school, if that is the sole reason, work on you all summer in between that year, and just work on you and always be in the gym shooting, always be in there getting extra work. A lot of times the assistants will work with you. There's shooting guns, like that will make the biggest impact. Like you see in a lot of these D1 schools, there will be players that were like kind of bench players, didn't do much, and they came back after the summer. They're a leading player on that team now. And so I would take the time to better yourself and see if you can work yourself better into that program, become a better player before you transfer solely for playing time. That was a small factor of why I transferred. I transferred because I could not take the inconsistency of all of the rules and how it was taken out on me, the mind games, how there were some just comments made in certain situations. I did have a really tough first freshman semester, and I will talk about that as well. And that was part of the reason why everything was so mentally difficult on me, because my freshman semester was like a shitstorm. It was like getting smacked across the face every couple of days with some crazy thing happening. And so I will do a video on that as well. So look forward to a few story times on some of the things she did my freshman semester, because it was a rough one. And then I am going to be doing a little mini series and stuff about recruiting, my experience with recruiting, my tips with recruiting, and inside of those tips, like emailing and videos and how to put videos together. And I'm gonna get my dad's input on all of that because he is the one that helped me with that. And so all of that will be coming to my channel soon. And I'm gonna start vlogging a little bit more because I've been in Colorado. Obviously, this is not my room. For 3 weeks now. Yes, 3 weeks now, and I will be here 3 more weeks because my boyfriend's having surgery, and so I'm gonna take care of him because I'm such a good girlfriend. And yeah, and so we're gonna do some cool things. I should have vlogged the other day. We went up to the mountains and then we went out to Wood Lake, and I should have vlogged that, but I'm gonna start doing that too. So stay tuned for all of that and subscribe down below for all of that. And give this video a like because it really supports my channel, and let me know if there's any specific topics you guys want me to go over, any type of like story times or tips, tricks, anything. I'm an open book. I really enjoy feedback, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.